This is WBSM On Demand.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the third and final hour of the week. For me, I'll be back Monday, God willing. But today, the rest of the day, with me anyway, the next hour, 508-996-05. It's dedicated to you. So, and those of you who've maybe never called before or haven't called in a while, love to hear from you. I'm sure there's plenty of things out there that you want to talk about. Remember, if it's interesting to you, it's probably interesting to me. I know I have the best informed, most opinionated audience in talk radio, so I love every one of you. You know that, even when I don't agree with you. And I don't know if I don't agree with you until you tell me. So give me a call, 508-996-0500. Again, you have a city budget coming up. It is right now in the the last hearing was last night. I don't believe there are any more. I think that, look, here's my view. There is very little the city council can do with regards to the budget because it's 11. You got to put together a coalition, a majority of 6 to really do anything. And then you've got to hold the line on changes, okay? Transfers. Sean Oliver, this is his first real budget because he just filled out the great Hugh Dunn's term. So this is his first budget, Sean Oliver. And he did something really impressed me. He talked to the city council, the clerk, and went back. You can find it all online. He got the last 3 years' worth of transfers. So what happens is the budget is made, and there are cuts made. And then throughout the year, department heads, the mayor's office, comes in and asks for transfers. And many of the city councilors, I have to tell you, I'm sure many of them don't even realize this is going on. They transfer the money back. So they may know it. They make a big cut, and then they spend the rest of the following months transferring all the money back. So they get the headline or the soundbite, and then they just transfer the money back. So I was very impressed that Sean Oliver asked for the last 3 years because he's looking for a pattern, right? Basically, where is the money in the budget that later on gets moved around? I mean, there's nothing illegal about it. There's nothing. It's just how budgets are done, okay? And it's not. You just, if you want to be a city councilor who's on top of things, you got to pay attention. You got a very smart mayor, and he's got a huge team of employees, right? He's got a big staff, got a financial team, as you should, as the mayor. Whereas you've got 11 individuals. They've got a small staff, they're good people. So it really falls on city councilors. And look, nobody supervises them. It's about self-management, whether you can do it, whether you're willing to do it. No one pays you any more. Quite frankly, with such low voter turnout, nobody even shows up to reward you with a vote. It's kind of sad, but we here at this program have gone out of our way to try to help you increase the voter turnout. I personally went out and raised money to run ads on this radio station about getting out the vote. I really don't think I'm going to bother doing it anymore. I guess I could be persuaded. I'll probably end up persuading myself to do it anyway, because after all, I love America, and as goes New Bedford, goes the South Coast. But I don't know. I feel like I'm, well, whatever. It's just like if the ballots aren't even going to be there, what's the point of going to vote, right? You know what Stalin said, right? Doesn't matter who votes. It matters who counts the votes. And I'm not sure you people have it any better than what the old Soviets had. So, and what disturbs me is that my vote is pooled with the city of New Bedford votes for my state senator, my congressman, my representative, my governor's counselor, my county commissioners, right? We have joint districts. So if something's going wrong in New Bedford, and clearly it is, right? It is impacting Fairhaven, Acushnet, Rochester, Dartmouth, quite frankly, the entire Commonwealth, right down to the United States of America, because the fact that they didn't have ballots available for the Republicans on Super Tuesday is outrageous. And it's a civil rights crime violation. I'm not sure. I just don't even know what to make of it anymore, really. I really don't. I don't know what government entity to appeal to for justice. I was really hopeful the mayor would take it more seriously. I was disappointed, obviously. You know that. I have no hope for November, except that I'll get more material out of it, right? I mean, the sad thing is that I get a lot of material and get a lot of phone calls every time there's another screw-up in the city elections. But that's not good for America. It's not good for us Americans, and I'm an American, first and foremost. Anyway, 508, it's open phones, 508-996-0500. Good morning, thanks for holding.
Hi, I'm back.
Hey, Catherine. Hello.
I did go, Paul and I went to the meeting last night, this city council special meeting, and we had not been to previous ones where there were interviews regarding the budget. If this is what we saw was an indication of the best that city council can do, I was very, very disappointed. But first, let me give accolades to Naomi for not caving into having Zoom meetings.
She deserves a lot of thanks for that because
yes, she does.
She's under a lot of pressure.
Yep, I'm not surprised because there were. So that's the first thing. The people who were absent, are they the ones who have been absent all along? And they are Brian Gomes.
Yes.
Joseph Lopes, Linda Morad, and
Derek
Shane Burgo came in for a few minutes much later in the meeting, and there wasn't much left of the meeting. Derek Baptiste came in 40 minutes late and left after half an hour. So Brian Gomes, Joseph Lopes, Linda Morad, and though not totally absent, Derek Baptiste and Shane Burgo, because they spent, little time at the meetings. Those are the people people ought to think twice about voting for. At least just even looking just at this. Are these the same people who have been absent all the time?
So Brian Gomes was there originally. Then he walked out part of the way through the school department presentation, which is the largest part of the budget, and then he's never been back since. Linda Morad has not been there for any of them.
And so it's okay. There are two right there. They ought to be out, not in city council anymore. Who else? Joseph Lopes?
So my understanding is Joe's on a vacation, which is a weird time to take vacation during budget season since it's really the primary part of your job. But I understand that that's where he is. But no, Joe has been there primarily the entire time.
Okay. Linda Morad, not at all?
She hasn't been at all. She wants it done on Zoom.
Well, too bad.
Right.
She's being paid.
Yes.
These are special meetings, I understand, but they wanted to run. They got in. They got elected. They should be there. Derek Baptiste and Shane Burgo, coming in late, leaving early, or coming in late and they come in so late there's hardly any meeting left. What good is that?
It's just a ruse for the people. Like, say, oh, I was there. It's ridiculous.
Well, yeah. Well, I don't I don't buy that.
No, I know you don't. I know you don't. You're not being fooled. But a lot other people are easily fooled, and low information voters. You're not one of them, but they're out there, and they know it.
Yeah. Well, so for those who weren't there, I'm just announcing who was there and who wasn't, and who came in late or came in and left early. That really ought to count as an absence. So that was, it's disgusting. This is our money.
Right.
It's absolutely disgusting.
And look, they got elected every time they win an election, it's $50,000 over the course of 2 years, plus the health insurance, which is a significant amount of money if they want it, and there's a pension credit. So it's a significant personal gain to each individual counselor.
Yes, of course it is. And then long term, did you say that? I don't know if I just
there's a pension.
but yeah, which we pay for.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
There's something Monday night. I can't remember what the meeting is, but
it's a special city council, not a special city council meeting. It's a continuation of the meeting that was on the Business Improvement District. That will be on the 10th.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, that's not, any meeting that people should go to, can go to, they should go to. And if they can't, then see if you can watch it on the Access TV, which is not as good. It's much, much better to be there. Then you see who comes, people who come in. It's easier to see who comes in late, who during the meeting is giggling and chatting with somebody while somebody's being interviewed. You don't catch all that probably if it's Access. And you certainly don't catch it if it's a Zoom meeting.
No.
So there are a lot of things to look at. And for people who are voting for these absentees, Brian Gomes, Linda Morad, and the people who waltz in late, Shane Burgo and Derek Baptiste, then, ask yourself why you're voting for them. Because they're not being careful with our money. They're not being careful at all.
Thank you for the call, my friend. Look, here is my opinion on this. Obviously, you know it. I give it to you 3 hours a day. But it's kind of about respect for the taxpayers, about the people who elected you, the people who go to your $25 fundraisers and give you some money, and then not to even show up and represent their interests. It's about the department heads, right? Because some of the meetings get started late because they don't have enough city councilors and they're worried about a quorum, department heads have to sit around, okay, waiting to answer the councilors' questions who do show up. The Sean Olivers, the Ian Abreu, the Shane Burgos. I mean, in some cases Shane does so, but Leo Choquette, right? This is his first budget, so. Department heads have to wait around while they're waiting for a quorum. And Naomi Carney has been under incredible pressure. I love her because she doesn't feel it, but she has been, to try to go to a Zoom meeting so that the shut-ins can work from home, right? I don't know how you have a government by shut-ins. It's ridiculous. And the people who vote for you and the people who support you, hold your signs, put signs in your yards, how do you ask them to vote for you, to support you, maybe to give you money and to put your sign in their yard, and then you don't show up? I mean, I don't know how you do that to people. but you got enough of them that do. So if you're on hold, excuse me, if you're on hold, stay there. I do have to take a quick break. I'm Chris McCarthy. Stick around. We'll be right back. I remember the day that album came into our house out in Freetown. I had gone to the Red Sox game with the Quartermarsh family from Freetown. And I think my brothers had said, Chris got to go to the Red Sox. What do we get? And my parents took him to the mall and they bought High Fidelity. So I got the album and the Red Sox game, basically. And that's a great album. It's High Fidelity. Anyway, 508-996-0500. Good morning. Thanks for holding.
Good morning, Chris. Gilly.
Hey, buddy. What's happening?
Well, let me talk to you about last night. I heard Catherine, and last night's meeting when we went there wasn't that many people.
Okay.
But here's what happened. I'm going to bring Mr. Burgo out. They had the chief of police at the podium first.
Okay.
And he spoke about the budget, and everybody questioned him and everything. And he was there with a young lady, that works for him with the budget, the chief. Well, when you get done talking, Mr. Jamie Pond got up there, DWR. So the chief was leaving, and he called me out, and we were walking, and we walked to the left of the room, and we went all the way down to the end of the wall to talk. Just as we got there, Burgo was coming off the elevator. Okay?
All right.
He stops, and he's talking to the chief. As we were talking, like he interrupted type thing.
Sure, I can picture that.
Okay. And like I got kicked to the side. I was like up against the wall, maybe about 4 feet away. He started asking him questions for 15 minutes in the hallway where Mr. Jamie was at the podium. And I was getting a little hot under the collar.
Sure.
And he was, I'll tell you what he was asking him. Here's one thing. That he wants to get rid of the shot spotter.
Really?
You know what I mean? He was talking to him about getting rid of the shot spotter. Okay? And the chief says he'd like to put the money in, blah, 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 blah. Don't you think the whole city should have heard that?
Absolutely. Absolutely, Gilly. I'm glad you did hear it and brought it to us here.
But not only that, I even said to Mr. Burgo, hey, if you want to ask the questions, why don't you come here early? And I told him that Jamie was on a podium. You're missing that thing. For 15 minutes, he was questioning the chief of police outside. And he got sarcastic with me when I said that to him. I mean, who are the city councils now that they're turning their backs on the citizens? Can you imagine asking him questions if he should have been there early?
Of course, he should have been there. He should have been on that stuff. Should have been on. Again, he can have private conversation with the department heads, but again, a major policy decision like canceling Shot Spotter, and he wants to do it on the QT. That's outrageous.
There was others. As a matter of fact, I got a little obsessed. Like I said, at least 50. I walked the length of the hallway all the way down the other. And I came back and stood there, and he's still talking to him. Why aren't they there on time? Like I told you, you got Linda and Brian missing, and I said to you already, they're afraid to say it. Linda was taxing Maria Giesta questions to ask the people there before. Matter of fact, what was really funny last night? The first question Naomi Connie had when the chief was up there asked Maria Giesta. I thought she thought that she had raised her hand or something. And when she says, okay, Councilor, Maria Giesta, I have no questions. And me and my big mouth.
Yeah.
I said, what's the matter? Linda hasn't called you in to tell you what to ask?
What was her reaction?
Well, she just looked, you know what I mean? It's not, they think it's a joke, especially doing, It's just simply they give themselves raises and everything. But I was really disappointed in Burgo, and I like the guy. Like everybody says, he's very likable and everything.
He is.
But don't be in the hallway asking them questions like that the whole city should be hearing.
Hey, Gilly, I appreciate the call. Thank you, my friend. Look, Shot Spotter, okay? This is a discussion that is coming out of the hard left, okay? to try to cancel ShotSpotter. For those of you who don't know what it is around the city of New Bedford. They have microphones that are designed to only pick up the sound of gunshots. In other words, I'm assured they don't pick up conversations, things like that. They just pick up the frequencies and of a gunshot, okay? For instance, it can tell the difference between fireworks and gunshots, even if some of us can't. So ShotSpotter has been crucial. Now, I know there is a professor from Northeastern University who's done a study that says it has no impact on crime at all. I haven't done a study. I don't know. But I can tell you that I do know from listening to the scanner and following the news reports here and following up on my own sources that when the New Bedford police, so these are located in what I would call strategic locations around New Bedford, where there is likely to be, unfortunately, gunfire, okay? There's none in Sassaquin. We don't have any in Fairhaven. We don't need that yet. But where they are needed, they are present. And it is a system that if you were going to put a cop on the beat in that neighborhood, it would cost you a lot of money. So it's a very economic solution to an extraordinarily dangerous situation, right? That is guns being fired in an urban environment. I want you to understand this. Guns being fired in an urban environment, that's first of all insane, all right? That's what they do in Baghdad. And so you have these microphones strategically located around the city. When a gunshot, a legitimate gunshot, is triggered, is fired, right? It triggers an alert, which goes to the police station. You hear it on the scanner. Shot spotted, detected, right? 3 shots, gives you the coordinates, and they race police cars there. Now, again, they can only send as many police cars as they have available. And we know the mayor's been working on retention and recruitment. And there has been some problems across the country with police departments, but in particular here in New Bedford, that's really the only one of the few departments we should care about, right? It doesn't really matter to me what happens in Chicago other than the fact that it happened in America, right? But what happens in New Bedford is important. And so the idea, and I believe what Gilly Safiolis just told us, because it fits in line with where Burgo gets his inspiration. The hard left is one of our frequent callers who says, look, they're communists, call them communists. Shane Burgo, leader of the Shanedonistas, he's a radical. But here's the thing I kind of like about him. He doesn't hide it. He doesn't hide it. He's not even worried about you voting him out of office, I don't think. Which is surprising, but I guess not. So if you take out ShotSpotter in New Bedford, you can't even imagine the amount of people that are going to get away with committing acts of violence with illegal guns. Because when the ShotSpotter hears a gunfire, right? So let's say, it's always in Ward 2. So let's say gunfire on Dean Street, right? They race police cars there. And sometimes they interdict a person with a gun, or oftentimes they collect intelligence, right? Somebody's in the area, but we know you understand, like the police in New Bedford, the detectives are really smart people. And they they know their city. Let me say it that way best. They know their city. You can be smart but have no common sense, okay? So let's say it this way. They're professional police. They're well-led, well-motivated. And they know their city. And they know the criminal class, all right? So that shot spotter is a very important tool to your tranquility, to your investment. Remember, folks, you have made an investment, probably the largest one in your life, in a home in the city of New Bedford. You pay taxes every year. You deserve police protection. And one of the things that the police can offer you is Shot Spotter. You know what I like about Shot Spotter is that it's not like a drone. It's certainly not like a police officer on every corner looking at you, right? It is just there. It's a microphone. It only picks up the sound of gunfire. So I know I'll never have a problem with Shot Spotter. What you have to ask is, why does Shane Burgo have a problem with Shot Spotter? Right? I mean, the idea of abolishing Shot Spotter in New Bedford. By the way, folks, Commonwealth Magazine has been talking about this. Guess who wants to abolish Shot Spotter? Elizabeth Warren. Now, Elizabeth Warren is a United States senator who lives in a really Tony neighborhood in Cambridge. She doesn't live in Ward 2. Right? She can afford to say, let's get rid of Shot Spotter. It's icky. We don't want it. It's icky. It makes people uncomfortable. If you live in New Bedford, you cannot afford to get rid of Shot Spotter, and you ought to explain that to Shane Burgo and the rest of your city councilors. Folks, Mac Auto Sales, 188 Rivet Street, New Bedford, they're protected by Shot Spotter, and I'm glad they are. They repair all makes and models, so if you need to get your car ready for the summer, or if you want to just have some repair work done to your car, call Mac Auto Sales and Repair, 508-565-6221. Open weekdays 9 to 5. Now, Mac Auto Sales takes care of any cars, but they specialize in foreign cars. I know, as I've told you before, we take Natalie's BMW there. The way she drives, you have to take her there quite frequently. But anyway, ask about their aftermarket accessories and quality used cars. Mac Auto Sales, I'm proud that they're a sponsor of mine. Go check them out. Mac Auto Sales, 188 Rivet Street, New Bedford. We got a bunch of people on hold. Good morning. Thank you for holding.
Good morning, Chris. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. So I was just thinking, you were talking about the Shot Spotter. So there was a kid, I think it was last summer. He was in his car on River Street. He got shot. The Shot Spotter heard it. A cop was, dispatched. And they found the kid shot in his car, and they saved him.
See?
So,
he would have died if Shane Burgo had his way.
Yes. That was my point I wanted to make. Have a good weekend.
Thank you, my friend. I again, folks, I often think Shane Burgo doesn't think, all right? And look, I feel like it's a necessary qualifier. I have to say, I like Shane. He's a good guy. But he does not understand what's called the law of unintended consequences. That's why he says, I see homeless people. I feel bad for them. I'm not going to buy them a house. I can't build them a house. I don't have that skill set. But I can erect a tent or have someone else erect a tent. And they can live down on that open piece of land by the airport. And they'll just, now they'll have a home. He doesn't go beyond that. Or he says, Elizabeth Warren is a Democrat and I am a Democrat, and she wants to get rid of Shot Spotter, so I'll get rid of Shot Spotter, even though we definitely need it in New Bedford. And I don't think beyond the fact that, that Shot Spotter saved a kid's life. or that it saved more lives than we'll ever really realize, right? Because every time a gun comes off the street, every time a gun is taken out of a criminal's hands, untold numbers of lives are saved. Good morning. Thanks for holding.
Good morning, my friend.
How are you? I wonder where you were.
I'm here. Yeah, I'm here. Well, there was one person whose name I haven't heard you mention in this boycott of the city council budget meetings. Ian Abreu, is he there?
No, he's there. Ian's there.
Oh,
yeah.
he's there. Okay, he's quiet though, right?
Well, he is quiet. You know, Ian has a philosophy that he doesn't really, and he says it out front. I'm not saying anything out of school. He says in some of the meetings, "Look, I don't make big cuts to the budget." He leaves departments alone, and he tells everybody that's what he's going to do, and so he's upfront about it.
Well, I see things late because I watch things on cable. I get things late, but I have seen Linda Morad. I thought at some of the earlier meetings there, and she was questioning Mr. Ekstrom, is his name, the chief executive.
Yeah, I believe that was the first night.
Yeah, the first night. And again, what she was upset with is the large amount of hires that are involved with the Mitchell administration. And I think he's the second highest employer in the city. I think St. Luke's Hospital is the first. So she asked Mr. Ekstrom to convey that to the mayor, that she felt that he was overstaffed, and since he wants the innovations person too, that's another one that's I don't understand. I think maybe some of the councilors might be frustrated in the fact that there's really not much they can do. They can chip away at what the mayor comes in with, but to really make big changes, and maybe that's the reason for them sitting it out. I don't know. They haven't spoken up about it and come to your show and say, well, I'm not there because of this, that, the other. I do feel sad for Naomi Carney, okay, because, she's trying to do the right thing, and I think she tries to be friendly with all the councils and everything, and her heart's in the right place, but, some of her friends aren't making things very easy for her.
Look, Naomi Carney is a delight. All right. Certainly, I've criticized her on issues. She voted for the Capitol Theater. I've criticized her.
Yeah, you can't agree on everything.
No, and again, she came right up to me the other night when I saw her. She comes in and she actually said to me, I'll be on school vacation soon, so I can come in. I mean, she loves to come in and talk to you guys.
She tries to do the right thing.
She does. She does.
And the other thing I heard too is they were talking about, I think at one of the budget meetings, cameras for the police officers. I think that was another thing they talked about. And another thing they also talked about was something to do with AI, in the future, that they got to get ready for this automated intelligence there, coming in, and what they should do about that. So, but again, I'm catching all these things late because, as you know, I catch it on cable TV, so I don't get the updated versions of everything. But I think Brian, by not going, his strongest suit is when he's on the floor.
Oh, yeah.
And when he's pointing out something wrong or advocating for something. So, unfortunately, I think Brian's doing a disservice for himself. And actually, when he's on the Zoom meetings, he's boxed in, so to speak.
Right.
So, no, he's better when he's on the floor and he's advocating for something or pointing out something. And I just wish they'd reconsider, what they're doing.
The thing is that they basically boycotted the entire budget season, so there's no going back now,
Well, I guess, again, maybe their thing is, look, we can only chip away at this. There's not much we can do. The mayor transfers money, this and that and the other, and he's got a large staff. I don't see the reason for it, to tell you the truth. You need people that have to go in there and do the work, just do your job, as Belichick used to say. And it's become an employment agency there in the City Hall, so.
Thank you, my friend. Have a good weekend, my friend, as always. Look, I say it here all the time. Brian Gomes is a fire alarm, okay? He's got the history. He's been there for a couple of decades now, right? And when he goes to the city council floor in a suit and tie, right, and he starts making his point, asking his questions, there's nobody better, okay? And that's the reason he gets reelected. So when I think he's following Linda's lead here, but maybe he's the leader, I don't know, and stays home, he does not, nobody projects well on Zoom. It's not good. And Brian, as that caller just said, that's his strong suit. suit and tie, standing up on the city council floor, right? He's got the great catchphrase, all that stuff. We haven't heard any of that, really, since the school department discussion started. And he walked out early. I think, as the caller said, Brian's hurting himself because he comes across like a leader on television, and he's denying himself that opportunity. And that opportunity is now over. I mean, he'll be back when he'll be back for the Business Improvement District. But again, I know that Linda is desperate to try to return to Zoom meetings so she doesn't have to go to City Hall. I don't know why, but that's the way it is. Anyway, folks, stick around. We'll be right back. From a car from a better managed time. I was, as I told you earlier, I was at an event last night for Congressman Keating, and there were a couple New Bedford firefighters there, Billy Sylvia, another firefighter. I know Billy, so I feel comfortable saying his name on the radio. He's been here as a guest. Billy's the head of the union. Another guy, Matt, who was with him. I just not comfortable saying his name on the radio. I'm not sure if he'd be comfortable with that either. But Matt is a Marine, and he was active duty, and now he's in the reserves. And we had a really interesting conversation. Actually, kind of dovetails with what Congressman Keating was talking about earlier. He was telling me about how the Marines have been doing joint operations with Brazilian military, Argentinian military, Chilean military. And he said to me, he goes, well, the Chilean military is pretty squared away. And, of course, for a long time, Chile was run by the military, right? Augusto Pinochet. So that's over now. But talking about because the Chinese are making incursions into Central and South America, the Russians are making incursions into South and Central America. And then we were particularly talking about Taiwan, right? That's the next likely battlefield with the Chinese is in Taiwan. 508-996-05. Stick around, folks. We're going to be right back. Welcome back to the program, and it is about time for me to fly, right? I got to get out of here. I don't want to go, but this is the worst day of the week for me because it'll be a couple of days before I can come back and talk to you again, or you can talk to me. So, right before in the last break, we heard a great political commercial for Jesse St. Gilles. That's a smart guy, okay? Let me explain this to you. Right now, whether you realize it or not, you're starting to make your decision about who you're going to vote for in November. That's the way it works. I've been in politics for a long time, and I know how the calendar works, and particularly now with early voting. If you're a political candidate and you're not advertising on the radio now, you're wrong. Let me just tell you something. You're wrong. Jesse St. Gilles it's Jesse For You is his website, jesseforyou.com. He's smart. He's advertising here. He's running in the district that Paul Schmidt had before, and that is all of Westport, part of Acushnet, part of Freetown, part of the north end of New Bedford, Ward 1, and it's an open seat. So there's no Republican in that race. So give Jesse a look. Give a young man a chance, as they say. He lives in Acushnet. He owns an insurance agency. He's smart. He is advertising now because right now is when people, particularly us men, are making our mind up about who we're going to vote for in November. And guess what? We don't really change back. So if you're a political candidate right now and you're not on the radio, you're wrong. If you're an incumbent, you might be all right because it's hard to beat an incumbent. But if you're a challenger and you're not on the radio right now, you're wrong. So go out this weekend, and if you're a volunteer for one of these candidates, and if you're not, go look them up. You got some options, Republicans, Democrats, and unenrolleds. Go get involved with somebody's campaign. Help get somebody elected. It does wonders when you're trying to get something through or not done that matters to you, whether it's a tax increase or a gun control bill, something like that. It's nice if you have someone you helped get elected in the legislature And you have an opportunity because right now it's the beginning of the political season and there's a bunch of people out there running. So go out, be a good American, find a candidate, back them, go do fun stuff for them, and you'll have a good time, by the way, too. Some of my best friends are people I met on the political campaigns, and it's a great thing. It's a great privilege we have in America. It's a God-given right, but it has to be defended every cycle. So get out there and do it. All right, folks.